Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long Blues 1975. YouTubers on the rise, reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long Blues 1975.
Welcome to another comparison video. In this video I'll be taking a look at Mercs on the Megadrive, my Megadrive Mini, and comparing it to the Amiga on the Amiga, or the A500 Mini I should say. Mercs is basically the sequel to Commando, released in the arcades by Capcom in 1990 in Japan. It's known as Senyu no Akama 2, or Wolf the Battlefield 2. The story is simple. Apparently the President of the United States has hired two mercenaries, or two mercs, that excuse me, obviously let's get the elephant in the room out of the way right now. The Mega Drive version is not two-player, which is a shame because obviously it's a fantastic game, absolutely brilliant game. There are two versions of this on the cartridge. There is the arcade port and there is the original port. Magazines back in the day made a massive deal of this, and the Mega Drive did this a lot, and it was a feature that I absolutely love. I had the Japanese version back in the day, and I obviously have a Japanese copy now for my Mega Drive, and the box art is superb. Seriously, look it up. The box art for the Western release on the Mega Drive is awful. We're not talking Strider or eSWAT Western art shit here, but it's awful if you compare it to the Japanese box art. Well, hey, that was something that happened a lot back in the day. So anyway, it was a moderate hit in the arcades, and the Mega Drive game was, well, it's one of those games that just absolutely loved and adored by those of us who had Mega Drives back in the day, particularly imported it, you know, prior to its, you know, Western release. Without paying particularly close attention, you would say it's arcade perfect. It's one of those things where you play it years later and you realise it is not. There is a Master System version, but I don't think that's programmed by Sega, because this is by Sega. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is because years ago I did a comparison of Mercs on the Amiga to the arcade for shits and giggles. Both those versions were running in coin-up-state on my OG modded Xbox, but since these are both running, you know, on these dedicated machines, I thought it'll be interesting to do a comparison of them together. You know, the two, what you would think would be the best 16-bit home ports. The home port, and this is why it's recommended to me, because I slate Tiertex a lot, and rightly so, because Tiertex are hot garbage. But someone suggested this to me, so you know, play this game, Dave, because don't worry, I'll get to the point in a minute. I'll get to the game, I should say. For a Tiertex game, it's not just a really good game, but it's a really good port of the arcade machine. So, and it's two-player. Who knew? So, obviously, therefore, I thought, you know what? Challenge accepted. Let's have a look at these games, you know, and do a comparison. Basically, I expect the Mega Drive to win, but you know what? Shits and giggles and all fun and stuff like that. This was released by US Gold, I believe, and then ported by Tiertex, as I said, for the Amiga, Atari ST, Amstrad, Commodore, and ZX Spectrum. I have a gameplay of the Commodore and the ZX Spectrum, and they're not bad. Right, so let's get into this. So yeah, you two mercenaries hired by the President of the United States to tackle, I don't know, overseas terrorism, because why would you use your army when you can just send in two individuals? I know, it's an arcade game. Start. Right, so there we go. Start. I could have selected it to the Japanese ROM, but I thought we'd make it look, you know, we'll give it its it's Western title, because that's what the it will be on the Amiga. Arcade mode, original mode, I can't remember what the difference is, but there is a difference. It's not just like one slightly different. Options, let's have a look. Oh, sorry, start. Right, mode arcade, we get to select that here. We'll go with easy, so we can at least get two levels in, you know, to try and compare them. A shot, B mega crash, that's your nuke basically. Rapid on, yes please, that's interesting. I do remember the music in this game being superb, but I don't remember how close it is to the arcade. Right, exit. Arcade mode. Right, as a skilled professional soldier trained in anti-terrorist tactics, you have been hired by the US. You're still a mercenary, Prezi. Government to assist in a top security operation while blah 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 blah. President of the United States was taken hostage by a group of revolutionaries due to diplomatic reasons. The US government skipped to the end. So there you go, stuff. Anyway, you start on a beach. Really nice graphics. It's quite a small cartridge. Oh yeah, I've got... See, normally you do this, but... Oh, I've got Rapide. And it looks really nice. You might not be able to see it, but... And so the screen is... I've lined it up properly because there is... On the information on the right-hand side, pretty sure they do that in the arcade, but they've done that to keep the screen narrow, not to keep frame rates up, because obviously this type of game has a monitor that's, you know, narrow and longer than it is wide. Worst descriptive term ever. Yes, you know, shit's destroyable, but then obviously you have to destroy it to be able to progress. But anyway, so your information on the right-hand side, mission 1, time, you do have time, life, and then the M is your Mega Bomb or your nuke, which I'll do now. That's nice. I like that. Kills... Well, does exactly what it says on the tin. This is really nice graphics. This is really, really reminiscent of the arcade. It is. It is not arcade perfect, but it's not far off for a very small cartridge and reasonably early Mega Drive game. Well, 2 years. Now, the terrorists are going to nick a bloody British Harrier. Yoink. The level's really, really short. The game's not too long, but it, you know, it does exactly what it says on the tin. I would argue for a Commando sequel, yeah, it's just action-packed. I would argue for a Commando sequel, it's a bit more forgiving in Commando. You shoot them with your big nuke, and it does offer you a slight moment of invulnerability if they start to fire. Basically, it overrides everything on the screen. I know I'm playing on easy, so, you know, probably don't need to do that. But it's a good little tip for some of the bosses, because they do get a bit tits frisky later on. So short levels, to the point. Commando is longer. But yeah, Commando is just more extreme and in your face. Although, again, I'm playing on easy, it does get well tits frisky later on. Landing mission successful, time to move in. So I think that's just like your prequel mission, if you will. Keep forgetting to press start and not A. Look at his stance. His manly stance. Right, so there are vehicles you can drive. Shoot shit to get weapon upgrades. There are cool weapon upgrades, such as the flamethrower. And it wasn't like, you know, a rotational stick or whatever it was that, you know, SNK had a Woody for in the arcades. But it works really well just by rotating around the D-pad. Enter! You're not the boss of me. Oh, go on then. You just walk up to it and you enter it. You do have like kind of health. Oh, medals and shit. Points basically. You do have health. You have damage for the Jeep. So there is kind of, you know, an isometric effect going on, but it's just great. It's just great arcade action. Like I said, I loved it. All the magazines said, you know, oh, not only is it pretty much arcade perfect. I missed that, didn't I? Hey, worked by default. Arcade perfect port, but, and I missed him as well, you get a bonus game. I'm running because I think this flamethrower, bit of slowdown. There's quite a lot going on. If I destroyed the tanks, they wouldn't be slowdown. But yeah, I'm running because this is not the tool for the job for taking out tanks. Even though I just said it's the best gun in the game, it's not. Continue, yes please. Right. Oh, hamburger, yes please. 5-second rule. It's the law. Spinach! Nice little nod to, well, Popeye. Look at this. Motorbikes. Commando. Every time I walk away from this game, and then, you know, don't play it for months and then come back to it, I just remind you of what good. I should have done that when he had his health on the screen. Solid game it is. It is fantastic. Oh yeah, you can destroy the rockets. It's the flame you want to worry about. Woo! Use your invulnerability as gloves. That was a double mix quote. And that was just me being cheap. But I want to get reasonably far, in, you know, a couple of missions in for this to be a good comparison video. But this is a good, solid game. Nice graphics, a lot going on, a little bit of slowdown there. But yeah, lots going on. Good sound effects, really tight controls, and above all, pretty damn accurate towards the arcade. Enemy tank line broken. Why, thank you. Is that it? Okay, let me press start. I've still got it. I'm going to keep it because, oh, and then there's fucking people carriers. People carriers? They're not people carriers, Dave. They're personnel carriers. Two different things. You're not fighting a fucking a spas. But yeah, it is the best gun for taking out people, for taking out troops. I like this. Now we scroll to the left. Oh, good at missiles, isn't it? Oh shit! I don't think you can. You increase your life? I want to say it looks bigger than it was just now, but that's a really awkward phrase. I'm going to get this because it's the spread. I'm pretty sure many awkward phrases were mentioned during the making of this video, but none of them were harmed. Yeah, this is the best gun for who we got to fight, but so it does mix it up over Commando, as in, you know, it's still linear, but oh shit. There you go. The way you move around, so you know, up, sometimes down, to, you know, to the right, to the left. It's not just straight up the middle, if you will, a la Commando. But then that's, you know, what you do when you do a sequel. You honour it, more of the same, but you still innovate a little bit. Although you could argue, you know, since it's still linear, not innovated enough. Oh, shut up, no. But you know what I mean. Oh, hello. What gun's that? I don't know, but I like it. Health, yes please. So obviously in the arcade, and not on the Megadrive, it was simultaneous 2-player. Another little, you know, nice, you know, improvement from the original Commando. Can you imagine a Commando? Why has no one patched it or something like that? You know, or hacked it, or, I don't know, taken the Amiga port itself, which is a pretty good port, and made it 2-player. That would have been epic. And easier. It's a fucking horrifically hard game. I can beat it on the Spectrum. Occasionally. Oh shit. Yes please. Some of these gun turrets are a bit pointless, and I'm still taking a massive hammering. See what I mean? But yeah, so on easy or not, you can see what it is. You know, actually when I said like, oh, Commandos, this is easier Commando, it's still not a walk in the park. I am cheating though when playing on E. Well, you're not cheating as such, Dave. Why am I referring to myself in the third person? I don't know, Dave. Boat, submarine, I don't know, one or the other. It's in the water. Look at that, when you get to the bottom of the screen. Oh, I've got to move up to trigger. Oh, it's a helicopter. There is a boat, I'm pretty sure of it. Right, so obviously they were all wasted. Because you got to wait for his health. Is that Hind? You got to wait for his health to appear in order to do damage. I am aware that I'm playing this like a plum. Wow, look. Oh yeah, he's got land. I forgot all about that. That's a nice touch. That's like the houses in Commando, isn't it? Only it's a helicopter. I am aware of that. That, you know, spit people out. There's some of this in your life. That's an awesome. See, as a kid in 1990, when I played this, I just looked at this and went, it looks amazing. You see, we didn't often get to play the arcade port. It was not in those arcades I was mentioned in Westford Ho and Minehead. Well, it wouldn't have been in Minehead because we weren't there in 1990. We were, you know, holidaying in Westford Ho. It wasn't in there. So, I mean, when magazines said, this is why I've got this series, you know, Arcade versus Home, and talk about Arcade Perfect, because that phrase was thrown around a lot then. But generally, they weren't. But as a kid, you had nothing to compare it to, and it looked amazing. So we always just went, yes, okay, perfect. So it will be interesting to see. I don't doubt that this will be better than the Amiga, but it will be interesting to see what it looks like on the Amiga, because obviously it was a pretty popular arcade machine, so, and you know, sequel to Commando. So there would have been, what's that? Oh, health up. Scratch that comment I just said. There would have been, you know, a market for it on the Amiga, and again, it's Tiertex. But like I said, people have asked me to say that. I think it's fun that some people defend Tiertex. I do. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. We're out of continues, so that's a good place to jump over to the Amiga. Think off the top of my head though, I can't think of any good Tiertex ports. I don't know. Anyway, I've played one, I'm sure I've played one. Let's have a look at the Amiga version released by US Gold in, I want to say 1991, but obviously developed by, as I just mentioned, Tiertex. So here we go, Mercs, and this was indeed released not just on the Amiga but all the micros in 1991. I like the fact that despite the fact that their name is synonymous with shit, they don't, you know, hide from emblazing it at the top of the screen. It has the Winners Don't Use Drugs intro from the arcades, which is kind of cool. Mega Drive didn't have that, and you get the actual, you know, cutscene from the White House, so that's kind of cool as well. The music so far is awesome. Now, obviously, the elephant in the room I said at the start of this video is that, oh hello, this is 2-player. The arcade game was actually 3-player, so there were 3 characters. This is interesting. This isn't in the Mega Drive version, at least not in the arcade mode, where it gives you a bio of well, 2 of the characters, because obviously there are only 2 in this game, so you didn't get that in the Mega Drive version. So that and the fact that you get the Winners Don't Use Drugs means that you get the actual full intro from the arcade that you did not on the Mega Drive. I'm really not sure what that is, why that is, and I'm not sure what is wrong with his eyes. Anyway, credits bottom right. Now, thing about that is, see what I mean? Simultaneous 2-player. I was not lying, and it doesn't seem to affect the gameplay, even though that's a demo of me not playing. But yeah, so credits bottom right, and I tried my best to put more credits in, but you can, and it appears what happens is it just gives you 5 when you press start, and that you will have to share them between 2 players, and the fact that you can't add any more in, that's a bit shit. That's a bit shit. But you know what, let's jump into the game. Obviously, as you can see here, all the information that was down the right hand side of the screen on the, see, 5 credits on the Mega Drive version is actually in screen on this, and look, it does display itself like insert credit, push button, like an arcade game. So credits bottom right hand corner, time top right, me, because obviously there'll be 2 of you if it's, you know, 2-player. Top left. I think it was in screen in the arcade, so points for that. Does it really make that much of a difference? I mean, some people would argue I like not having it in screen on the Mega Drive, you know, it gets in the way and stuff like that. Looks like the arcade, the colour palette is a bit awkward compared to the Mega Drive. You could argue that the Mega Drive is a bit kind of, I don't know, well, certainly not as bright, dimmer, muddy, if you will. But I like that, and it's closer to the arcade. Music is really, really nice. Sprite works nice, not noticing any slowdown. We can blow up houses and shit. That arrow wasn't in the Mega Drive, I'm pretty sure that's in the arcade. Look, spinach, so we got health. This, do you know what? This is Tiertex, and it's not a shocker. It really isn't. Look, can I get it? Yeah. It's a Tiertex game. Not only does it look like Mercs and play like Mercs, and play really actually quite well, graphically is alright, the colour palette is a bit vommy, if you know what I mean, but yeah, this is Mercs. Right, small intro level, I am aware of that. It says 4 credits. Is that because I'm occupying the first credit? Occupying. Oh, right, there's no impact to your character when you get shot as such. Obviously your health, oh, it's on 2 buttons. That's the correct explosion, by the way. The Mega Drive was not the correct explosion. It should be that big boom. Do you know what? The screen is too cramped. I will say that. The screen is too small. It's not that it's narrow, because obviously that, oh, see, hello. That would be what the monitor was in the arcade. But I guess because of the size of the sprites and stuff, it's a bit too cramped with what's going on. The bullets are the same colour as the floor. I can see them to some degree. Can blow up shit, can get powers and stuff like that. 5-second rule. I just broke the 5-second rule. But yeah, so far, I'm actually really quite impressed with this. And I hate saying this, you know, especially for a Tiertex game. I don't have... Oh, if you hold far down, by the way, then you nuke. You've got to hammer it, because obviously you don't have the option to put it on turbo, and also you don't have the option to put it to difficulty, so I'm assuming that the difficulty on this is a standard medium mode. But yeah, this is really good. I'm impressed. I haven't played it for ages. I don't know if I was this impressed last time I played it when I compared it to the arcade. Obviously compared to the arcade it's going to look really shit, but compared to the Mega Drive, which is, I'm going to say it, is closer to the arcade, this is a damn good, you know, port. I would have been... Will you fucking die already? Thank you. Flamethrower works a treat as well. Flak jackets, don't recall that in the other one. Health up. I was a massive fan of Mercs in the arcades, and this was the only machine I had to play it on, which, you know, really, you could take in that 500 quid, bought a Mega Drive and bought a shit ton of games. Sucks to be you. Probably your parents, to be honest. You're not going to have 500 quid unless you're if you're 12, and if you do, interesting. But yeah, and this is all you could play it on. Sorry, I'll get to the point. I would have been happy with it, I really would have. I don't have anyone else here, so I can't see how it plays on 2-player, but at least the demo at the start shows that it looks like it can handle it. I've just noticed something that I should have mentioned just now, but did anyone actually notice when I'm playing this version? Because I was talking bollocks, including me, I didn't notice it there. We're like, where's the bloody cars? So there's no Jeeps. Interesting. I don't know if it couldn't have handled that. Would that be a bit too much? Is that a sacrifice you make because, look, cigarettes! Yay, the 90s. Late 80s. Yeah, is that a sacrifice you make because obviously if it's simultaneous 2-player, there's no way it would have been able to, you know, put that on as well. I don't know. I don't know how long they had to make this. The thing about Tiertex is the US Gold gave them like piss all time to make games. I'm staying there, that seems to work. Hey, oh no, hang on, you killed me. How did he kill me then? He was a bit fast, a bit Harry Clappers, but you know, the sprite work on this is brilliant. There's no diagonal. If you try and face diagonal, then you stop. You either face up or you face to the right or face to the left. That's a little bit annoying. May not sound like, look, we got that. Don't have that on the Mega Drive. May not sound like a deal breaker, but like with the Harry and stuff like that in certain fights, it does help. Right. I have to say, I'm going to get another gun. No, that's not. I'm going to nuke you. That's not what I wanted to say. I'm really impressed with this. It looks the part. Every stage in it, you know what stage you're playing from the arcade. It doesn't seem to have skipped anything. Alright, it skipped. Skip to the end. Yeah, so it skipped, you know, vehicles and stuff like that. But everything else at it, stage-wise, appears to be absolutely bang on. All the weapons are in there, all the icons are in there, the music's great, it plays really actually quite well. That's that. Sorry, it's a little bit awkward to work where you have to go. Did that take it? They take them out wherever, which is good to know. I'm gonna... Was that live? I got 2 credits! I got 2 credits! Yay! This is a little bit harder, I would say, than the Mega Drive, mainly because the screen is cramped as well. But yeah, this is a bloody great. Honest to God, is this Tiertex? Did someone just like superimpose their name at the start? Because compared to some of their games, this is night and day. Look at me with the credits. I've only had someone else to jump in. Right, I'm gonna say it at this point that the Mega Drive looks better. I prefer the kind of duller colours. Not gonna lie. It plays slightly tighter and you have more room to manoeuvre on the screen due to the size of the screen. However, I mean, we knew it was going to win, didn't we? Oh, look at me. I can run over. But this is, again, this is Tiertex. This is brilliant. I mean, if I'm going to sum up, I'm going to say this. It depends what you want. Both bring different things to the game. The Mega Drive looks better. It's more playable in the sense that, you know, it's more accurate, I would say, but everything's in this. But you have a little bit more room to manoeuvre and stuff like that. But this is more accurate to the arcade in the sense that you get the cinematics and stuff like that. And if you want to play 2-player, don't forget 2-player with your mates was a big deal back in the day. Then that's cool. Yeah. I have to say, it depends what you want. I prefer the Mega Drive. I grew up with the Mega Drive, but I'm not going to lie. I know, I'm just going to stand here. It seems to be doing alright. Come on. Is that that's the sweet spot. Hey! But yeah, this is a really good port. Looks right, not as good. Sounds great. Has 2-player, has all the cinematics. So basically, I would almost ignore the graphics and stuff like that, but from a game playing experience, if you're a massive fan of the arcade, I'd put them kind of on a par. It's got vampire eyes. Just thought I'd say that. Yeah, I put them on a par. Obviously, the Mega Drive version offers you more value for money because, oh look, we're in the drink. You get 2 versions of the game, but that was always a Mega Drive thing and not really a home computer thing, was it? But yeah. So I'd love to know what you think, especially if you played either of these versions, or any of the home bit versions or micros, or the arcade. And you know, what are your thoughts? Like I said, I guess it's what you want from it. a kind of nearer arcade experience. I'm out of credits. Good point to end it there. Nearer arcade experience, I would say this. I mean, obviously there are flaws in here. It's missing things like the Jeep and the screen size, but it's the complete package. Megadrive looks better, plays better, but it's not as accurate to the arcade. I'll shut up now. I've been waffling a massive amount of bollocks. Love to know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Fuck me. Really? Tiertex? And I'll see you later.